Hello, friends. Are you ready to hear the rest of the tale? Then let us commence. If you remember last time, the Ragtags met with the Lord Wake's Galt, an unimaginably wealthy interdimensional oligarch, to discuss a robbery that had happened at his palace, the Casa Infinitus. The robbery was of interest to everyone, as it featured as its only clue the same ectoplasm found in Dr. Saja Lev's workspace when the solar egg was stolen from there a few weeks ago. Maybe you don't remember any of that. That's okay. Totally fine. I mean, I guess I don't have anything better to do with my time than recap everything that happens to these folks, but sure, forget everything, and I'm sure I'll recap things so you can go and forget them again. I'm sorry, I really got carried away there, didn't I? Where was I? Oh yes, our heroes visited the Casa Infinitus in the ladies' ward, a staggering palace that also had its interior magnified by being the hub for several tailor-made demiplanes the Lord had purchased. Meeting the Lord Galt in one of these demiplanes, the heroes shared what they had learned about the ectoplasm. Which, well, wasn't a lot really, was it? On the upside, Investigator Arahala, the mercy killer in charge of the Casa Infinitus robbery case, shared what she had turned up. Admittedly, it wasn't much either, but when combined with what the heroes already knew, it became, well, a little more than before. For one, they learned that the ectoplasmic thief had absconded with an ancient map of wild space that detailed a treacherous region known as the Intersect. They also learned that the ectoplasm had turned up at another robbery 2 years earlier. A robbery at the House of Whispers, Sigil's necromantic library, where the skull of an ancient heretic, Daedric the Damned, was stolen. It was a lot of left for later, really, but Varys was at least buoyed on by it all. From there, the Ragtags headed through the portal to Sylvania, the gate town to Arborea and the Feywild, to begin the next phase of looking into just what in the pink mists of Eldraine happened to them between going to bed one night and waking up in a stasis tank on an exploding airship about a week later. Soon after arriving in the eternal twilight of the woods around Sylvania, the heroes found themselves embroiled in a conflict between two groups of Fey, one being a duo of a Harengon female rogue and a turtle male druid, and the other, a sketchy group led by a creepy-looking Fey creature. Quickly choosing to aid the turtle and Harengon, our friends managed to chase off the other brigands and had a chat with their newfound allies. The Harengon introduced herself as Sloane Skifflefeet, and the turtle was Frobisher dos Santos. Sloane explained that she and her slow-talking friend were agents of the Sealy Court of Fey, on a mission to travel to Sylvania and observe the strange goings-on there of late. It seemed that a group of archfay had supplanted the original rulers of the gate town, a collection of freewheeling beings known as the Spiriters. While everything seemed to be above board, and on the up and up, Queen Titania and the Summer Court wanted to be sure there was nothing untoward going on. Sloane mentioned that the main archfay, someone named Nimnilian, seemed affable enough, but it was never a good idea to fully trust an archfay, so she warned them to be on their guard at all times. Sloane explained that since their arrival, they had been unable to establish contact with their agent on the inside, and had eventually been burned by agents of the Unseelie Fey, hence winding up in conflict with the sketchy Becco Beck, the creepy Fey creature. She also warned the heroes to be wary of the Garda, the secret police in the town. They had invisible eyes and ears everywhere, and our friends should keep their important conversations in hushed tones whenever possible. The Harengon asked the heroes if they might keep an eye out for their inside person. Someone they only knew was a tabaxi. They then left looking to lay low until things in Sylvania blew over. From there, the heroes continued on and eventually found themselves at the gates of Sylvania. The town was in a permanent state of celebration and festivity, with throngs of people and Fey traipsing about in various modes of bacchanalia. After visiting a magic shop, the one-of-a-kind Indavale's World of Wonders, the Ragtags eventually found their way to the Trio Life Inn, a huge beer garden and beer hall and inn built inside a massive and ancient oak tree in the middle of the town. Here they were able to get their bearings, sync up with the vibe in the town, and then figure out what their next move might be. While having some drinks, the Ragtags managed to observe Nimnilian, who just happened to be in the middle of a feast on a VIP level in the boughs of the giant tree. Let me take a moment to remind you, since, you probably forgot, that Nimnilian is the same entity that signed off on our friends being loaded onto the airship in Sylvania. It was his name and signature that appeared on the waybill they found that led them here. Remember? Now there he was, laughing and carrying on just about 60 or 70 feet away. Still, surprisingly to me at least, they chose not to approach him to get any answers. Instead, Varys spoke to some locals, and Brace managed to talk with the innkeeper, a beautiful summer Eladrin, though neither conversation bore any valuable information. Drogon observed a sad and sullen and stressed-looking fawn female approach Nym Nillion with some paperwork, and after being sent away, he watched her leave the inn. With that, the rogue tailed her out into the town. As Brace returned to the table in the beer garden, he noticed he was being observed by a hiding pixie. After Varys messaged her that she had been made, the tiny face spoke with the friends, revealing that she was an agent for the Garda. Seemingly not putting the secret in secret police, the pixie mentioned she was on the lookout for a very important book that had been stolen from the law spire in town. On that note, Drogon easily tailed the Sadsack fawn back to a large fairy tale tower on the edge of town. The law spire. The fawn went inside, and Drogon soon followed, entering a magical library that was much larger and sprawling than the exterior of the building indicated. Staying hidden among the tall stacks of bookcases, Drogon watched as the fawn went about her morose duties. It all seemed quite boring until, without much fanfare, she rose and went over to a nearby bookcase, pulled on a book, and entered a secret passage that opened up. I mean, that one's a classic for a reason, innit? Drogon replicated her steps and managed to open the passage and entered. Stealthily moving down a tight passage, the half-elf overheard voices, one being the fawn's, the other an unknown male. He could hear them speak about how they were still after him, and that he needed to remain hidden for now. Risking it all, Drogon moved into visual range and took in the sight of a cramped chamber, obviously being used as a hideout where, along with the sad, overworked fawn, was a tabaxi male. Huh. I guess that was somewhat unexpected, eh? Deciding he had seen enough for now, Drogon quietly made his way back out of the secret chamber and into the stacks of books. Just as he was about to beeline for the door, he felt a strong and strange presence behind him. Turning around, he found himself face to face with an imposing archfay female who said,
"It is long past the hour of uninvited guests, cousin. Who trespasses late in the law spire without my blessing?"
Uh-oh. The stakes are probably way lower than they feel right now, but we're still going to have to wait to find out, aren't we?